Now that we got the first demonstration out of the way, let's go ahead and go to the second demonstration, and let me show you how to get there. We're at the website where we did demo.php, so I'm just going to type demo2.php and hit go. And at first glance, nothing has changed, and to a large degree, not much has changed. We've still got our form. We can choose information out of the database. Now here's where it's different. When I click Get Population Data, watch what happens. And before I click this, I'm going to move this up. I'm going to click Get Population Data. Here we go. So as you notice, there was an image that flashed on the screen for a second. It was an image that indicated that something was processing, and this is a very it's makes it a lot easier for someone visiting your web page to understand that some activity is going on, because with an AJAX web application, the hallmark of an AJAX web application is that there's no page refresh. It's not like the screen goes blank for a second while it goes to another page. That's the whole that's the whole idea behind an AJAX web application. You stay on this page, but it's grabbing data out of the database, and sometimes that takes a split second or two. So you want to show the user some sort of image, a spinning clock, or something that indicates activities going on, and then it pulls the information in and it gives it right here. So let's try this again. So I can go to Baker County and choose 2001, hit Get Population Data, and there you go. It automatically updates it to have the information 2001 population estimate for Baker County. Now again, this is not an extremely complex AJAX application, but this is the second demonstration, and this is a big step forward from the generic choose your information and then post it over demo.php, where we're leaving one page and going to page B. This is an AJAX application, even though it's relatively simple and straightforward. So let me go ahead and show you what's going on behind the scenes. What we're going to do is open up demo2.php, and again I'm using Notepad++. So the same stuff as before. In other words, a lot of this code you'll see in demo.php. All of this right here, all of this is just to create the form in order to populate the drop-down list, and for both the county and for the dates. That's all it does. So let's go ahead and move forward. We've got the style sheets right here, which just makes the form look pretty, and this is where things start to get interesting. Alright, here we have script type equals text JavaScript, and then what I'm doing is I'm grabbing the latest jQuery code, and I'm grabbing it from the jQuery.com website. Now under the most ideal situation, you would have the latest version of jQuery on your web server, and you would not be grabbing it remotely from the jQuery server. But I wanted to be able to distribute the files to you so that no matter when you are watching this, you would have the latest version of jQuery. So that's why I did it this way. Okay, and then I'm using a plugin that adds some functionality to the jQuery library. Now jQuery is great because it has these plugins. In other words, other developers, folks like me, have spent their time and energy to create plugins that you can use with jQuery. They're built to be used with jQuery to add extra functionality so that you don't have to write something from scratch. So it really takes a great JavaScript library called jQuery and makes it even more powerful. But none of this really makes sense until I start to show you exactly what's going on. Okay, again, all this HTML, it's the same as was in demo.php. When you get towards the bottom of the page, this is where things change. We've got an opening script tag, and we've got down here we've got a closing script tag, and everything from this point up all the way to this point right here down, that's all new information. So let's walk through this step by step. What we have is document ready function. So when you look at this is waiting for the entire page to load up. There are some things that you don't want to have happen. It just won't function properly unless the browser has been able to load up the entire page. So you want to wait until the DOM is ready, and that's what that function does. So once the page is loaded, then we start in on some JavaScript. So let's look at what's going on. We're setting up a variable called options, and I'll go through this in a little bit, but basically we're setting up, this is like a mini configuration for the AJAX form. The AJAX form that you see right here is loading options, okay, and that's this information right here. So the information that you set in options is being put right here, and then as you see in the information, it's binding it to something with an ID, that's the # ID of county form. So if I scroll up, you'll see that we have form action, and this is just plain old HTML, but it happens to have an ID called county form. So what this is doing is it's hijacking the action that you would normally expect on the contact form. So rather than normally, what it would do is submit it to the results page, as you saw in demo.php. But because we've targeted it with this ID using JavaScript language, and if some of this is confusing, go to 15daysofjquery.com, and I cover this in much greater detail. But this says grab whatever has this ID and use the AJAX form plugin, and then use these options right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to target, once the AJAX happens, we're targeting something with an ID of target div. Let's see if we have something set up. We do. We have a div that's just sitting there with no information in it called target div. So it's waiting for some info to go. The AJAX info is going to go right there between the opening div tag and the closing div tag. Now before it sends that information over to our PHP page to process the information, it's going to run through this JavaScript function, and when it comes back on success, it's going to go through this, send the data through that JavaScript function. So here we go. If you notice, we've got show request right here. That's that function right there. And all it's doing is it's adding an extra variable. So it's taking what the AJAX form plugin does is it goes through the form. It goes through everything that you see right here, and it grabs all of the field values. It compiles them, and then it I've told it to add an extra one that does not exist in the form. So I'm saying essentially create a new form field, or send over an extra name value pair, name of AJAX value of 1. So that's adding that to the information before it sends it over. That's what's going on there. And then when it comes back, it's not really doing anything. As you can see, Notepad++ puts the information, anything that's in smaller text, green like this, and a little bit italicized, that is information that is just these are just notes. So nothing is being executed here. All right, and the last little bit of information is that there's an ID of loading, and within that div there's an image, and that would be this up here. This is our loading image that comes with the files. And I've used through the cascading style sheets, I've set that to be hidden when the page first loads. So it says when the AJAX magic starts to happen, we want to show it. We want to show this image. When the AJAX information comes back, we want to hide it. So this is a way to give our visitors information, a visual cue that says there's some activity going on, don't leave the page, something's happening. And this is very, very useful, especially if your web server is running a little bit slower than normal. So this tells your visitor there's something going on, sit tight, some information's coming back. So let's take another look. So I can change information to Dixie County, change the year, hit get population data, and you notice it's sitting and thinking for a while, and I don't know why it's taking so long. Okay, but it finally came back. So that was a perfect example. What great timing. That was a perfect example where, for whatever reason, my web server was taking a little bit longer than normal, And finally the information came back. So we have 2003 population estimate for Dixie County. So all it's doing is it's grabbing this information, and let me see where it's posting this. Okay, it's posting it to results2.php, which is very similar to results.php, but it's slightly different. But it's really grabbing the same information out of there. So that's a very in-depth examination of what's going on with demo2.php.